Hey everyone, welcome to AHRK Encounter. I'm your host Maha, and I'm so excited to be on this AHRK path with you. We have a special guest, an amazing leader, and truly when these two are in the room together, the discussion is amazing. So we have Casey Cox and Bernard Bashir as our guests today, and together we will encounter vision and goal setting through the lens of lifestyle. So let's get started on our AHRK journey with this video.
AHRK is the lifestyle path to better choices. It empowers us to live life to the fullest and paves the way for people like you and me to discover our unique purpose and passion. Choosing to walk the AHRK path invites transformation and growth in 5 key areas of life: leadership, communication, mindset, community, and lifestyle. As we dive into these lenses, they redirect our focus and guide us into a deeper understanding of where we're at today and where we're going tomorrow. This is AHRK Encounter. Welcome to the AHRK Path.
Welcome to AHRK Encounter. My name is Bernard Bashir, and we have an amazing episode for you today. We are going to be talking about vision and setting goals through a lens of lifestyle. Lifestyle is such an important lens to look at because it's something that we touch every day, and it's the lens that we're probably most conscious of. And so we needed somebody that really can bring insight into this topic, and somebody that you know very well, of course. But to set the stage for you today, to listen to our guest talk about his encounter is a reflection on what does it look like for you to live your lifestyle through a lens of vision. What is that vision? And as you hear the journey, how do you reflect on it? Because today is the moment, is the time for you to really bring that into your personal life. And we're hoping that's what this encounter does for you. So help me welcome Casey Cox.
Thanks, Bernard. Glad to be here.
So glad to have you. And it was such a celebration because when we were talking about doing the lifestyle lens, I go, I wanted to do that one.
You are. I am. You're going to guide me.
I am going to guide you today. But I love because we've been on the AHRK path together. We've been on the AHRK path separately in the sense of each one is living our own journey. And we both have shift in lifestyle. And what's amazing about it is we've seen each other's change. So as I can sit there and tell you, talk about my change, the transformation that you've seen in my life, and you have a whole storyline, and vice versa. I can sit and I can do just the AHRK Encounter, me and
you can sit in
audience.
both seats.
I can sit in both seats, and I can tell. So this is why this is really so exciting because, guys, it's real. The AHRK path is real. These encounters are real. This is something that is designed really to encourage our audience, and that's what this is about. So let's start with the first moment of the last 3 years.
Okay.
The last 3 years. Let's pick a moment where you recognize that there was a new transformation in your life, in your lifestyle.
The last 3 years, a new transformation in my life. You know what? It's not the one that you may think. About 4 years ago, we started leaning into AHRK pretty aggressively.
Yes.
We brought it to business. We brought it to hundreds of individuals. You empowered me to teach and inspire others around us to live an AHRK lifestyle. And it was about 3 years ago that I saw what you had instituted start playing out in people's lives that you were touching that I wasn't touching. I watched what I would call either a duplication or a reproduction of a lifestyle mentality that I knew was possible. I started to watch it bear fruit.
Interesting.
So, I think of even Adam, who's been a guest with us. I think of, just your team members. I can go down the list. And it was about 3 years ago that people started using the language of AHRK.
Yeah.
We started bouncing around the term above the line as if it was common language.
Yes.
And it was really in that place where it set my heart on fire to go, oh my gosh, it's possible.
Yes.
This is real. It really can be transferred through other people's lives, because while I was teaching people outside of our immediate context. You were doing all the teaching inside the management team, the leadership team. So that's why it was so important that I was watching people inside your sphere of influence start picking up the AHRK encounter.
I love that. I love that. So your moment was to watch the transformation in others, reignited that passion that there is transformation.
And most importantly, that I didn't have to teach them. They were watching. They were watching and following you.
Yes.
And it wasn't that I taught you and you taught them, is that we lived this out, and I was living a lifestyle where those people were under my, mentoring, and you were really mentoring here. And you'd always say, look, it has nothing to do with Casey. We got to just live it out.
Yeah.
That was a huge shift.
Wow.
Huge shift. And the background, just for you, is, I had been in ministry and ministry as far as church, and my passion and my hope there was to transform lives. But so often that transfer point was really hard to find. It was not normal. There was a hunger for it. There was a desire for it. But I never saw something quite so crystallized that, hey, I'm going to give you this, and then you go give it away, and then to watch people take it. And now here we are today. People who we gave it to are now giving it away. Again and again and again.
What a celebration. And really, so to go jump on the AHRK path, Casey is a VIP. I mean, we recognize that you've lived a lifetime of searching for it, and it turned out to be you. That's my perspective, that as you search on the outside for that, that reality, what you've encountered was this reality inside of you of as you've grown more and more into this realization of being a VIP. And it's been such a joy to watch that and to be around it and to be a part of it and to be a part of your life. But then you brought these terms into our lives, these unarguable, unshakable, undeniable, and it was hard. I mean, it was, when you brought them, I was like, I understand the terms, but it's like they're going to be offensive. It's offensive to have this kind of terminology, but I trusted in your vision. And as again, this episode is about vision and planning, and it's just the goal setting. And then, but when I saw the extent, every time you used it, it was like a sword that was cutting. I was like, whoa, what is he cutting this time? And he's cutting the lies that surround our guests as you use these terms. So I'm going to use them on you.
I welcome it. I'm ready. I'm not usually very nice to you, so let's play.
Well, and I love the starting point, the unarguable. I mean, we're both fathers. We have our kids are older now, and just the term of authority is unarguable, and yet you use it in love.
Yeah.
And so you are very unarguable. And as I've processed the reality of unarguable, it's changed me.
Amen.
And I want to see how it's changed you as you started using the term.
Well, first is being unarguable as a parent evolves as your children age.
Yes.
I am far more unarguable, and okay to be unarguable today, because if my boys who are at the end of their teenage and into their 20s,
3 boys.
First off, I can't beat them up physically anymore, so there's no more fear factor. Second is, if they really don't want to heed what I say, they can clean up their own messes now. And so being unarguable on this end of the equation is far easier than it was in their preteen when they wanted to argue.
Yes.
But the thing I'd give you is that being unarguable is not about being passive or not making a stance. Being unarguable, it really takes effect when you realize that you don't have to be right.
Yeah.
So if my way is the right way, then I'm ready to argue for it. But what I've come to with the boys is, hey, you want my point of view? I'm open to hearing your point of view. Now all of a sudden, I can argue my own point of view, but I'm not arguing with them.
Yes.
And so being unarguable, as that has evolved, really started with a desire. We kind of tossed this around even in this encounter, is not being offended.
Yes.
When I learned that I could choose to not be offended, even if that other person was poking for my button, I could not be offended.
Yes.
And I learned that I didn't have to be defensive. It wasn't overnight,
Yes.
but the ARC path grew out of that pursuit, which makes me unarguable.
Yes. Well, I'm gonna grab it from him, because I'm gonna just catch it. Just catch it. I mean, and if you missed it, just rewind. Look, it's digital now. Just rewind this. Guys, this is $1 million. Let's just box this. We can cut the show right now, but it's only one. You only get a third of it. So that was amazing. So I celebrate that, because I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to enjoy it the fourth time, because it'll take me 4 times to really get it. So unshakable. Let's move on. And I'm going to bring your wife into it. You talked about your kids.
Yep. Yep.
So now, you are unshakable.
Yeah.
You've always been unshakable.
Yeah.
You have your journey in terms of as a young boy living in your parents' household, and you became a young man and an adult, married, and now you have a spouse and children. You're unshakable, Casey.
I'm unshakable.
Tell me about being unshakable.
Being unshakable is it's a mindset first. But if for me, where you are unarguable, you have values that anchor you. But if there's no tree above the ground, who cares how deep the roots go? No one. You're not unshakable. You're hidden.
Yes.
But as soon as you emerge out into the world with this position, you have a tree trunk. To be unshakable requires you to have deep roots.
Yes.
So you got to put those two things together, which is the values and the identity. My unshakable identity is not in comparison to the circumstances of the storms.
Yes.
The storms are irrelevant. The wind is irrelevant. My unshakableness is really it's anchored in hope, unshakableness really is probably more of a faith-based word for me, where the kingdom is unshakable. So from a biblical lens, that concept, it captivated me.
Yeah.
The world is falling apart, but the kingdom's unshakable. And then that hit me, and I said, I've had so much crisis, calamity, divorce, darkness, death in my life. How can I not be consumed by those things?
Yeah.
So I pursued, how do I become unshakable?
Yes.
And I remember early on, people would, I would, when I wasn't quite as unarguable, meaning I wanted to be right.
Yes.
I'd have confrontations, and people would say, sure, you can believe it's true, but just wait until you lose a child.
Yes.
Sure, this works for you, but wait until you lose a job. Sure, this is true for you, but just wait. And they always kind of had this doom and gloom.
Yes.
Once things get tough enough, then you will crack.
We'll know who you really are.
We'll know where you really are when things fall apart. And throughout that, at first I was afraid of them.
Yeah.
I was afraid of, oh my gosh, they're gonna. It's gonna
Yeah.
reveal that I'm really not unshakable.
Yes.
Once I moved past the fear and moved into the fact that love is the only constant, that's when I figured out what unshakable meant.
Love that.
If I know that I'm loved, and I love myself, it seems really selfish, but it's not. It's an embrace of who I am.
Yes.
And I don't need to change for anybody else. I'm unshakable.
I love that. I love that. And as I've seen, I would give it back to him, but it would be a very long encounter. But what I've seen is that you got there one choice at a time. Mm-hmm. There was a one realization at a time that just the growth factor of you and I, again, just being on the ARC path and watching each other in our own journey. I've seen you become more unshakable. I love the tree trunk. It just they're bigger roots, deeper roots, more anchored, and it's just more every day. And I said I was going to bring your wife into it. Angeli, I know you.
I was coming back to it.
Okay, I want to make sure you didn't steer that because it's a joy as he's celebrating his journey within his family, which is so important to Casey, and I celebrate that as well. But it just it's being unarguable and unshakable. It really lives out in your life.
Yeah.
It's not just something for the camera. It's not just I'm going to write a book about it. It's just something that you live out, and I just love watching that dynamic in your family.
So let me give you two things. One is something I can't prove at all, but I can share it. I once was told that the inner convictions of the husband represent the outer beauty of the wife. And as I look at my wife today, she's more beautiful than ever. Not that she ever wasn't, but she's radiant. And I do acknowledge that I am more confident in who I am today and willing to be unshakable. And I don't need to prove anything to anybody. And so that's one thing. The other thing I would give you with my wife is I feared my wife probably the first half of our marriage. We just were married 24 years. So I would say the first 12 years of my life, of my marriage, I feared her, not because she was a tyrant at all, but because I feared losing her. I feared if I made a mistake, she would walk away because I would be stupid. I feared my own foolishness. And once I caught on to that I feared her more than I loved her. Some great books I can give you reference on that. But once I figured that out, I went, oh, that's not love. Coming back to the values as well. And really being anchored in love, once the fear went away. This is the above the line orientation of coming into that and going, wow, what game was I playing? And we need more people to play this. Hence, we need an AHRK path. Because in AHRK, we find love as the only motivation that actually moves you forward.
Well, and I think that's a great point. I think there's different marriages I guess they have different paths that they take. I won't mention mine right now, but that's a different encounter.
You get to be the guy.
Thank you. I know. But it's just what I celebrate about being unshakable is you not only have you pushed forward in your marriage, but to see you both where that lives out is they go to each other for things, and being in this space where I watch that is having that trust, that confidence, that celebration, to be able to go to each other, and that genuineness is a very motivating for me and inspiring for me as well. So I think that's a big part of that, being unarguable and unshakable. This is the toughest one. I left the toughest one for last, okay? Because this is where I think most conviction come in. Undeniable. Come on. Come on.
If you go after being undeniable without first figuring out to be unarguable, you're up for a fight. Because unarguable is where you don't have to be right anymore. You don't have to try to convince anybody. Being unshakable is a consistent habit. You're going to live that out, and it is lifestyle, is unshakability. So now we move into undeniability, where I was plagued. And I say that word intent. I'm going to say, I'm going to say it's not that way any longer. That's why I'm pausing to go, is it really not that way any longer? I struggled with arrogance, cockiness. And some would say I probably still do, because it's a thorn in that flesh. But undeniability, the sharp edge of that is arrogance, and pride precedes a fall. And so I pursued humility and hospitality in order to find a new way forward.
A balance.
And with humility and hospitality, that became my metric of undeniability. Were other people wanting and willing to acknowledge my hospitality? Did I, and I reverse that equation. It's one thing to throw a party and invite all the important people over and have them come. It's another to be invited to other people's parties. And hospitality became for me going to other people's homes or places that weren't of the elite. And then I could be hospitable. Humility was going there not thinking I'm doing a good thing, but just going to be present with people. So undeniability, and there's a lot layered in there, I know. I want to be the same person every day. And when I show up, I want to bring the same presence every day. Again, this is another one that really broke me When I was preaching every Sunday morning, I decided at that point I would wear the same clothes on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and Saturday and Sunday. So it meant I had to elevate my game a little bit during the week, and it meant I wasn't going to put on something different on Sunday. That's where that started, to show up as the same person every day. And if somebody didn't like it, that's who I was going to be. Today, being undeniable, you could ignore me, but you can't miss who I am and what I'm about. And I'd say that's where you started. In the last 3 years, that's become more clear. Being a transformational coach of the body and the mind and the heart, the integration of such. Prior to 3 years ago, I didn't really transform the physical body. And I wanted to. I just didn't know how to. And I had to learn it for me first.
Love that. I love that. And I want to bring it back to our audience for a minute, because well, wait, this is about, vision and goal setting. And it's a path that Casey, this didn't just come about. These are not just random terminology that just, I'm just going to use this terminology. You could see the depth and the layering that he pursued in this, because it was a vision that he had of transformation. Well, his desire was to transform people around him, but he recognized that he had to transform him first. And that is our journey. That is our journey, is that we need to acknowledge, heal, restore, and walk into our kingdom journey so that we can be present with each other and be present with others. But it takes goal setting. You've seen the vision. You have your vision. You've seen a vision that the AHRK path centers. We want you on a path of healing, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, however you want to take this. But at the end of the day, it's, well, how do we get there? How do we get there? Let's the goal setting of you've walked the path. You said you're going to make it easy for our guests.
It's the easiest to do is
take a pill.
Take a pill. Oh, the red pill. It's the red pill. That's the Matrix. Take the red pill.
Take both of them.
Throw it over your shoulder. Stamp on it. The easiest way to do it is really small steps. Set a goal to smile 5 times today. And then when you accomplish that goal, to smile 5 times, whether or not you feel it or not, that wasn't what I said. I said, just get in front of a mirror and smile 5 times today. And then you go, I did it. Do it 7 times tomorrow. And do it 1 like you really mean it. Okay, now you got 8. We need to move in action. If you have a goal and you're not moving into action, who cares? If you have a vision and you never do anything about it, it's called fantasy. And the invitation of the AHRK path is to say, put it in action. 1 step at a time, 1 breath at a time, 1 engagement at a time. There is no starting point.
Correct.
There's not like, oh, where do I begin? As soon as you ask, where do I begin, you're acknowledging that you want to begin. You're in. And then release it. Every time you screw up, if you come up short, I'm far from perfect. But I am being perfected more and more and more, because I get back up, get knocked down 6 times, get up 7. That's called success. So there's a whole lot of things that just burble up out of my mind. But
so do they need to remember the terminology? We've seen words have power.
Yes.
Expressions. The AHRK path. You got these 4 terms of, you acknowledge, heal, restore, kingdom. You have these 5 lenses. You have, what's a VIP? You have this. We've built a terminology to help explain the journey. But what are they? What is that? How do we tell the guest of what is it they need to remember today?
Whew, man, I got flooded with my unarguable words as well. The short answer is, you and I don't care if they use our words.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. In fact, our words are the best attempt that we had at articulating what worked for us.
Yes.
Find something that works and then repeat it. That really is the emphasis. But until you find something that works for you, use what's working for somebody else. Look out into the world and go, who has what I want? And then go ask them, how do they get it? And this is really our motivation. We're simply telling you, whoever who will listen, hey, this is what worked for us. And we're pleased. We made a choice. And that choice that we make it every day, and it keeps yielding it to be a little bit better. So if better is something you desire, what worked for us works for me. This is the AHRK path. Use it until you find out a better path. And here's my ask. Once you find something better, come back and tell me what it is.
Yeah.
Because if there's something out there that's better, that's the lifestyle of better choices, then we're going to choose that. We'll upgrade this, we'll reinvest it. But this is the best we have today.
Yeah. I love that direction, because what's interesting is that find that something that worked and repeated. And I want to go to the other side for a second, going, there's a lot of things that we repeat that don't work. And that's where a lot of us get trapped. And the AHRK Path journey is, as we got inspired by watching each other, as we walked in parallel, there's an inspiration going, why is that working in your life? And I go, can I have that? And it was vice versa. It was this trade-off where, you know what, I want to push off what doesn't work. And but we both had to walk through this journey of, you have to acknowledge that, hey, my way is just not working. His way is working. I'm just going to grab that one area, I'm going to bring it into my life, and to go through that healing, that restoration, and walking to that kingdom reality where it's permanent in my life.
Amen.
It's one step at a time, one day at a time, one choice at a time. But what's constant is celebration, celebrating life, celebrating friendship, celebrating our family and our community. So welcome to the AHRK Path. Thank you. I hope you watched and celebrated this AHRK encounter. We're going to watch it again and again. I think I've really enjoyed this one more than I thought I would, actually. And it's real. What you see here, what you're hearing is real. It's available for you, and we are ready for you to jump onto the AHRK Path to help guide you.
Yes.
And if you, like Casey said, the invitation is, if there is something out there that you want to share with us, please do. We want to connect with you. And we want to thank Casey for his authenticity in this and opening up about his life and his family. But we want to invite you to come back and bring a friend next time. And here's Maha to tell us, how do we tell you how to get there?
Well, Casey said in order to be unshakable, you have to have deep roots. And it takes time. It's a process to be unshakable. So my hope for us today is that we are rooted in love. When I'm reminded by my community to revisit my visions and my goals, I know it's because I am loved. And I find those practices, those reminders here at AHRK. So I want to invite you to join our social community. On Instagram, Facebook group, and our YouTube channel. You could find us with our handle at AHRK Path. You could find our most updated resources on arcpath.com. We also have courses and amazing podcast sessions to keep you going throughout the week, keep you inspired. You could find those on our app called Circles Now. So I'm your host, Maha. It's been a pleasure to be with you. I hope to see you next time on AHRK Encounter.